Greetings, Father Brad again. For this week's video, it's May 14th. I've been kind of stuck on May 13th, but it is May 14th, and this is the feast day for the Apostle Matthias, who was the one who replaced Judas Iscariot as the 12th apostle. Today, we thought we'd have a different backdrop for you. In back of me to the left is an icon of the Lady of Tenderness that Bishop Peter had done in 1999. I think some of you may know that he's quite an accomplished artist. We also have my little dachshund organizer. This is my parents. We always had dachshund dogs growing up, and so I'm kind of savvy to the dachshund way of life, and one of my brothers has a little one, black and tan, that is quite the phenomenon right now. So today, before I get started, we had a pastoral council meeting last night by Zoom. So we were at our computer screens talking. There was a suggestion, since my hair is longer, that I might want to consider just letting that go and then doing a comb over. I thought about that for 5 or 6 seconds, and I thought probably if I did that, I would be the first one to catch a crosswind. So I probably won't be doing that, but barbershops are opening soon. So I wanted to talk to you today a bit about the weekend masses and how we're doing with those. We have 2 weekends in on masses according to our normal schedule. And a few things have come up, and I just wanted to review some things and just let you know what we're working on lately. I need to give you a clarification about receiving communion. During this time, as we know, Bishop Peter has asked that we receive communion in the hand. At the same time, the Universal Church allows those faithful who wish to receive on the tongue to do so. And so there was some concern this last weekend about some receiving on the tongue versus the hand. I could tell you that there's lots of studies that transferal of anything bad for us is not more in one than the other, but usually you can find different studies coming to different conclusions. What we do try to do is try as carefully as possible to distribute the host without touching a recipient's hand or mouth. There's a couple things that you could do to help us with that. For hands, it is good to have the hands as flat as possible, one under the other. We're never taking the Eucharist, we're always receiving it. But it's easier to place the host in a flat hand as opposed to sometimes going like this, and then we're not going to drop it in the middle, but it's less room for us to place the host properly. For those who do receive on the tongue, one of the things that comes up with that is that there's a tendency to be moving as one receives the host, sometimes kind of coming forward. It's best to remain as still as possible, because the communion minister is moving. If the other person is moving, then we've got a moving target. So as much as you can stay just quite still, take the posture and then stay quite still is very helpful for us. So I personally want to reiterate what Bishop Peter has requested, and again, that's during this time to receive communion on the hand, though those who wish to receive on the tongue are allowed to do so. What I'm asking for everyone is to forego any judgments made on anybody about how they wish to receive communion. Judgments are easy to make, and we want to forego that. We want to be a community supportive of each other and united. And so I'm asking you to be very conscious of not doing that. And all this being said, I wanted to remind you of a couple of things. One is that the dispensation for mass attendance is still in place through June 26th, and that again is for anyone 60 years of age and over, which is myself, but I'm coming. Predisposed health concerns, or just anyone having any concern about their safety in any age. So while the church under normal circumstances maintains a weekly obligation to attend Mass, the other thing that I want to reiterate is that while there's a weekly Mass attendance obligation, there is an obligation to receive communion at least once a year. And I say that because it is perfectly acceptable to attend Mass while not coming forward for communion if you don't feel comfortable doing that. As in not making judgment on how someone may want to receive communion, please don't make any judgments on somebody not coming to communion. We have long associated coming with Mass and receiving communion as one thing, and it's either all or nothing. But we do want you to come to Mass, but to receive communion is something that is not obligation and mandatory each time. Again, obviously the church would like all the faithful to receive communion more than once a year, but that would be the minimum. So please do keep that in mind. One of the things about the communion flow is that as we move forward, we've discovered that we need to make some adjustments on how that all happens to stay in compliance with the bishop's directives and the CDC. And we'll be explaining this on the Sunday Masses as well, but we'll be distributing communion from 3 different points. We've been doing 2 on each side, but now we'll have 3. And the reason for that is that on those side aisles, there's not enough room for a communion line from each section to be 6 feet apart. So we're going to solve that. It's a very simple solution. And it might seem harder in to think about it in my explanation than it's going to be actually. But we'll be explaining it again, and then there will be ushers that will help direct that. So when a priest and deacon are in the center, they're distributing to one of those center sections. People are coming out one way, they're circling back and into their pew. We're going to do that for each of the 3 sections on each side. So basically the middle section, the next section, and then the end section. All of them will have the opportunity to come out from one side, receive communion, and circle back. So it is really a simple thing. It's just hard to explain, and you'll have to tell me if I explained it all right just now. But anyway, so we'll not to worry. We'll make sure that happens. As you are in line, we are going to place some markers on the floor at 6-foot distances, just like we go to some stores now and they have those things marked, just to be a good reminder or a focal point where you can space or keep spacing in mind and just have something visual there to look at. The other thing that we need to keep in mind going forward as well is that it's very easy to forget, but please forgo collecting in groups on the way into or out of Mass. We're all happy to see each other, but we actually do need to, our having Masses during this time depends on us really following all of these directives. So coming in and going out, please don't group together. For spacing, purposes also on coming in and out, please remember to utilize the big old front doors, the main front doors. Most people usually use those smaller side door sets, but we have the big ones unlocked, and it just allows more room for everybody in both directions to be going in and out, so please keep those in mind. And when it's time to leave at the end of Mass and the recessional song is done, ushers will be queuing pews to leave from the back rows first. So at the end of Mass, if you would please go ahead and wait until your pew is queued before going out. One of the things that we've been doing this week, because we were having stay-at-home stuff through all of our special rite time of the year, we've rescheduled various things, and we were waiting to see, just kind of monitor how many people were becoming, how the spacing was working out. We normally would have the special rites are included in regular Sunday Masses, but we wanted to see how that would work because there's extra people at those Masses. So in a couple of cases, we've combined into regular Mass times. In other cases, we are going to have a special Mass just for that. What I'm talking about as special rites is the RCIA, RCIC, that would be people joining the church, being baptized and confirmed, normally happening on the Easter Vigil. So this particular year, that wasn't possible, and Bishop Peter suggested that this take place on Pentecost weekend, which we can do now. So those particular rites of initiation will be incorporated into the 5 p.m. Saturday Vigil Mass on Saturday, May 30th. Another special rite would be youth confirmation. Our confirmation classes have combined All Saints and Sacred Heart in Lapwai this year, but we'll be conferring the sacrament in each place, or separately, I should say. So youth confirmation for Sacred Heart in Lapwai will be incorporated into the Sunday Mass on May 31st, the regular time at 11:45 a.m. For 2 additional Masses that we've scheduled for special, conferral of sacraments. For youth confirmation at All Saints, we've scheduled that for Friday, June 5th at 6 p.m. And for first communicants, who I guess would have been receiving that the first weekend in this month, in May, we've rescheduled that for Thursday evening, June 11th at 6 p.m. This particular day is the original Corpus Christi Solemnity Day, though it's been typically in the United States transferred to the nearest Sunday for bigger exposure, but we're going to give a nod to Corpus Christi nonetheless. And what a nice day to be receiving communion for the first time. So these will all be in email bursts, and they'll be in bulletins and et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't need to replay the tape, that information will be coming soon. Just in closing today, I mentioned last week about a book of a Benedictine monk in Sino Jesu. I just wanted to read one of the same paragraphs of the 3 that I read last week, because we still need to hear these words. And again, these are words that this monk has understood Jesus telling him within his meditative prayer. From 2011, Jesus was saying to him, "When all seems confused and inconsistent, then you must turn to me with an ever greater confidence, for I remain all wisdom, all love, all mercy, and nothing escapes my providence. Have no fear, for I remain constant even when you are inconstant. I am strong when you are but weakness. I am holiness itself when everything in you seeks compromise with sin. I am wholeness and peace when you are broken and disordered. And you know what? I think there's just some undercurrents of wanting to just get out and do the town, and we're still not there yet. So please keep these words in mind. They're beautiful words from God as a gift to us. And just to remind us that God, who is everything, is right at our side. We just need to use our human freedom to acknowledge and invite him in. So that's it for this particular video. Let me give you my blessing. May Almighty God bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.